What is a hermit, and do I qualify? A tale of two solitaries. What makes a hermit, what makes a Grinch, and how to tell these two oddballs apart. Written and read by yours truly, Oakie McDoakie, screw-ups and all. Been calling myself a hermit for years, kind of as a joke. On the surface, I could pass. Remote, tiny dwelling, no family, minimal peopling, year-round sandals, and a suspicious affection for pottage. Could be just a coincidence. Still, being a man given to navel-gazing, I figured I ought to study up on the matter. What I've learned is that there are two kinds of people who get confused all the time. The hermit and the Grinch. They look similar from a distance. Both live out on the margins, avoid gatherings, and often go quiet when approached. But you could tell them apart by this. One smiles easily, and the other is frowning clear down to bedrock. Worth saying, plenty of folks wind up alone for reasons that don't fit either category. Some withdraw because of mental health or addiction struggles. Some neurodivergent folks simply prefer limited socializing. Some take solitary jobs. Antarctic penguin researchers, lighthouse keepers, long-haul truckers. And some people get stranded on desert islands with a volleyball. All interesting cases, but not today's subjects. No, today we're looking at the two types who actually embrace solitude, who court it, shape their lives around it, make homes in it. They're just the same, only different. The same in shape, different in soul. But where do these two oddball types come from? According to psychologists who've studied solitude and social withdrawal, especially Anthony Storr and Robert Copeland, nobody becomes a hermit or a Grinch by waking up one Tuesday and deciding, you know what, I'm going to go live in a cave. If adulthood finds you in a cabin, a cave, or a monastery cell, the road started way, way back. It's usually the result of temperament meeting environment in childhood, followed by a fork in the road during the adult years. To illustrate the point, I've chosen two modern solitaries to compare and contrast. Thomas Merton, the 20th century Trappist monk and writer, and J.D. Salinger, the reclusive author of every high school student's favorite book, The Catcher in the Rye. I picked these two because, being famous modern writers, we've got the receipts for every stage in their development. It's important to note, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that not all hermits are religious, perhaps not even most. If you're into off-grid or back-to-the-land living, you're likely familiar with Richard Dick Prenneke, who lived alone in a remote Alaskan cabin for almost 30 years, filming and journaling about the wilderness around him. Mother Nature was his bliss, not God or the Buddha. Temperament, where the trail starts. Some kids come preloaded with a certain tilt. Quiet, observant, happiest puttering alone, able to entertain themselves for hours with a stick and a patch of dirt. Born introverts, you might say. You see this clearly in Merton. Looking back on his childhood in the 7-story mountain, he basically says he was naturally inclined toward being alone and generally content that way. Not wounded, just built in that direction. Over in another childhood entirely, you've got young J.D. Salinger. Biographer Kenneth Slowinski described him as unusually watchful, quiet, observant, already slightly braced against the world. Two seedlings of solitude, bent in slightly different ways. Childhood weather, sanctuary versus foxhole. Temperament is the seed, but weather determines what grows. For Merton, the weather was rough. His mother died when he was 6, his mother when he was 16, and he spent years being passed around between guardians and countries. Later in life, he wrote that solitude was the first place he ever truly felt safe. That's sanctuary building, nestling into solitude because it's steady. Salinger's weather was different. Less catastrophic, more confusing. His mother hid her Jewish identity until he was grown. His father was both ambitious and critical. He bounced through schools where he never quite fit. His daughter Margaret describes him as a child who learned early that the world could turn on him without warning. That's foxhole building. Solitude as a precaution. Not comfort, but cover. Two kids alone in their rooms. One lights a candle, the other piles sandbags. The adult inciting incident. Crisis as a sorting hat. Neither a hermit nor a Grinch fully emerges until adulthood throws a brick through the window. Otherwise, they stay introverted but more or less average adults. For Merton, the crisis was personal and moral. Heavy drinking, tangled relationships, a girlfriend he secretly impregnated, and the growing terror that his life was drifting nowhere good. Reflecting later, he said the life he was living wasn't really life at all, and something in him wanted to go deeper and find silence again. He didn't flee the world, he stepped intentionally inward, and it worked. Salinger's crisis was hell on earth. Drafted into World War II, he landed at Utah Beach on D-Day, fought through the Hurtgen Forest, and helped liberate a concentration camp. In letters afterward, he told friends that the horrors stayed with him, that they didn't wash out of your clothes or your mind. His biographers noted that he suffered what we now recognize clearly as PTSD. Two adult ruptures, two opposite turnings. Merton goes inward to heal. Salinger goes inward to hide. Adult solitude, refuge versus barricade. By midlife, the difference becomes unmistakable. Merton grows into the very picture of a true hermit, living in a little cabin near the monastery, writing luminous, gentle books, radiating a kind of wry holiness. In essays from his hermitage years, he says plainly that solitary life, for him, wasn't an escape but a source of joy and fullness. Salinger retreats to rural New Hampshire, puts up fences, posts no trespassing signs, stops publishing, and treats unexpected visitors like threats. His daughter says he didn't just fence the property, he fenced his life. And in letters from that period, he said he preferred people in his stories, because fictional people stayed where he put them. Two cabins, two solitudes. One is a home, the other is a bunker. Conclusion. So what am I then? Where do I fall on this spectrum? Am I a bona fide hermit, blossoming in my natural habitat, or merely a standard issue Grinch, nursing old grievances against the Who's down in Whoville? It's probably not wise to diagnose yourself, or be your own lawyer. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd say I lean hermit. I feel pretty damn content most days up here at Hippie's End, happily walking the trails with Sissy and tapping out my little essays on the keyboard. Still, people are complicated. Catch me before my coffee or hear me griping about a stranger having the audacity to drive down my street, and I might start plotting a Christmas Eve raid on Whoville. But who cares about a label anyway? Better to find the life that fits you, and live it. Meantime, I'll keep studying solitaries from a respectful distance. Seems like the right vantage point for me. Quiet and uncrowded, the pot simmering away. If you like this, you can tip me on ko-fi.com/Oakie McDoakie or follow me on Substack and the socials. Just go to okiemcdoakie.com. Until next time, don't let the bastards wear you down.